Yo, Thought Warriors. What is up? Higher Learning is on. It is I, Lathan Jr.
And it's me, Rachel and Lindsay.
We have a guest today, Erica Dickerson, Jamilah Mapp. They are from Good Moms, Bad Choices. They have a new book coming out. Podcast is Good Moms, Bad Choices. The book is a good mom's guide to making bad choices. It's mother empowerment, Black mother empowerment. You know, it's empowerment for mothers.
Yes.
I like it. I like it a lot. You guys got to go buy the book, and you guys got to listen to the interview.
It's for women.
It's for
too.
women,
not just moms.
Not just moms.
Moms to be.
Moms to be like in the future, like future moms.
That would be moms to be.
But question: are you a mom to be if you're not pregnant?
I consider myself a mom to be.
You consider yourself a mom to be?
Yeah.
So you're a mom to be.
Well,
Whoa, now we're getting into it. Woo! So you're a mom to be. You're a mom to be. What does that come with? What does it come with being a mom to be?
Not much, Van.
I'm asking. Because you said you consider yourself a mom to be. So what comes with that?
I plan on being a mother in the future. So, I mean, I guess people with child do say I'm mom to be, but they also say I'm pregnant. I don't know. I'm a mom to be. Whatever. Fuck it. That's what I say.
Wow.
Okay, it is not that aggressive. Chill out.
I was just asking, are you a mom to be?
Yeah.
If you're not, okay, cool.
I mean, for me.
You want to be you're a future mother. You want to, you're a prospective mother.
Yes.
You're a mother you got the stuff to do. I gave birth today.
2.
I've been constipated.
All right, I don't want to go
and
any
so
further, Van.
Because of the medication.
I don't want it.
And it's been really hard. Figuratively, like literally, it's been really hard. It's like it's
really?
It's a side effect of some medications that I'm taking. And today was like a real, I had to overcome. I'll just put it to you like that. It made me late. I had to do a Ghost Brothers podcast.
Induced.
I induced.
Yeah.
Like, I had to do the Ghost Brothers podcast, and I was like, telling them, look, I need 10 minutes.
It makes you angry.
It does.
It's like,
why isn't my body like cooperating?
You can't relax.
You know what I mean? You can't do anything.
Do you feel better?
Oh man, I feel like now for the last couple of days, I've probably not been feeling great.
Right.
Because of it. But now I feel like totally different. Free. Lighter. It's go weird too, because there's nothing you can do to beat it, because I'm taking my athletic greens. Shout out to everybody out there. Athletic greens. Brian loves athletic greens. Mm-hmm. Athletic greens is the best product in the world. It's the best product in the world. Athletic greens help me sleep. Athletic greens help me be regular, before the medication. Athletic greens give me energy. Okay, Athletic greens is great. AG1 from Athletic greens, go get it. Did not pay for that, by the way. It's just something I take. And I've been taking that plus Metamucil, plus I use hemp protein in my smoothies, and still all of that, the medication.
Metamucil? What? I feel like I see that on a commercial. What is that?
You don't know what Metamucil is? It's like fiber capsules so that you can, be regular and stuff like that. What'd you do this weekend? I saw you and Brian all dressed up. Where'd y'all go?
We went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
How fantastic! What was that like?
It was fun. You never been? I'm surprised you haven't been.
Nigga, don't fucking play me, nigga.
I'm not trying to play you.
See what I'm saying? Don't play me, nigga.
You're a big deal.
I never.
You
never been?
I'm surprised.
Oh, you never been?
Because here's the thing.
Play me.
It's not like the White House invited me. It's publications or networks who purchase the table, and then they invite people to their table. So because you know so many people, I'm saying this is a compliment.
I growl at you. Don't play me.
I'm dead serious. Anyways, we went. We had a great time. It was a really cool event. A lot of people, very lax. Everywhere you turn, you're like, oh, this is a politician. This person's on news. This person's a celebrity. It was pretty cool.
Roy Wood Jr. was the host.
He was fantastic.
Me and Roy Wood Jr. had a text exchange not too long ago where I texted him and pretended to be somebody completely different.
Why?
Because he had given me his number. First of all, Roy's
Didn't he used to do prank calls and stuff like that?
He handled it so well.
On radio?
He had given me his number a while ago. I forgot to reach out, but then I reached out. When I reached out, I was like, why don't I fuck around and see what I can get Roy to do? Didn't happen. Roy did such a fucking fantastic job. I've watched the stuff from the Correspondents' Dinner. So great. Love to see him get that shine. What a funny, relatable, amazing guy. One of those people that like, I love to see do well because he's so good at what he does.
And his mom was there, and he like comes from a family of activists. So to have his mom there, and it was like a beautiful moment. Like they showed her in the crowd, and I was like, oh, I was just excited because I'm a fan of him from a distance. Yeah. So I was just excited to see him get to do it in that way. Because I can't remember whose radio show he was on. Steve Harvey or Ricky Smiley, one of the two. Anyways, he used to listen to it. So he used to come on. But to see him do that and bring his mom there was really nice. Biden was funny too.
You saw Biden? He was funny there?
I mean, I didn't meet him in person. Not that special.
Did you? But he was funny? He was funny? What did he say?
Funny.
What did he say?
No, I mean, he joked about his age.
He's old.
He joked about, like he played into it. He joked about Tucker Carlson.
Okay. Any jokes about the crime bill? Or?
No jokes about the crime bill.
Okay, cool.
No jokes about the crime bill.
That would have been funny. If I'm Biden, I'd just say fuck it.
No, he's in a re-election year.
No,
Maybe once he gets re-elected, then he'll probably then he can do fuck it stuff.
If I'm Biden, I just say fuck it.
Nah.
If I'm Biden, I walk up there and I go, Roy Wood Jr., ladies and gentlemen, that's great. The fact that he's able to stand up here and deliver that type of comedy to you guys tells me that the crime bill wasn't wholly effective. We missed something.
Wow.
That I would give that.
Wow.
Boom.
Give him a little sound effect,
I would
Donnie.
give that joke right there. But that's the kind of shit I would do. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Do you know how I realized that you guys were at the Correspondents' Dinner?
How?
Brian posted in his tuxedo.
Oh.
I was leaving the gym when I saw the post of him in his tuxedo. I turned right the fuck around, went back in.
No, you didn't.
You think that's a fucking joke? I'm not playing at all.
And did what?
Like, I said, you think I'm playing with you? I'm not even. I'm like, I got some more in me. I literally looked out. I was like, nah, this nigga look like James Bond. No, I turned around. I went back in. I was like, I got some more in me. You didn't give it all. You didn't give it all, big fella.
What is wrong with you? He looked great. We had a good time. I ran a couple people who said they know you.
Who?
That, you know who I met for the first time? Sunny Hostin.
Oh, Sunny. Sunny's great.
And because I always go when she's gone.
Right.
So I never met her. She's like, we've never met. And I was like, no, I would remember it.
Right.
Yeah. Had a good conversation. I was like, yeah, I do a podcast. I know you're familiar with Van. She was like, oh, I listened to some episodes.
Sunny's great. Sunny's great. I'm glad you guys got a chance to meet, because like they could try to pit you guys against one another.
I don't think anybody's trying to do that.
They might.
No.
They might. So who else did you meet that knows me? Who else?
John.
John who?
Legend.
Oh, yeah. John's a great guy. These are great people. Okay, these are great people, and you hung out with them. Did you guys dance?
He's in my fantasy football league.
Oh yeah, you did. You did tell me this. And he's a big football fan. John Legend knows football. He's a college football fan. Real football fan, college football fan. To me, you're not like a real football fan unless you care about college football. I say that straight up.
Like in general?
If
or
you
like you
don't
just have
care
your
about
team.
college football at all,
Keyword.
To me, you're not that real of a football fan.
Okay.
I don't look at you different. I don't care. I know there's mad niggas that's going to be like, I'm from New York. I like the Giants. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the Bronx. We don't care about that college. Y'all not, it's not real. You know what I'm saying? It's not real, It's like where I'm from, care about football all the way down.
Well, of course.
Top
We're
to
from
the
the
bottom.
South.
Start off South Baton Rouge. If I'm home, when I go home, I'll go home and
you go
Memorial
local
Day.
game?
I'll go to a South Baton Rouge Rams game. That's the kids team. That's the kids, South Baton Rouge Rams. I'll go to the kids game.
Okay.
Shout out Chris Toombs. Shout out everybody over there involved. Because that's where people, Michael Clayton, Marcus Spears, South Baton Rouge Rams. We grow them early from right there. And then they go.
I mean, I'm from Texas. We do too.
I know you guys. I mean, Louisiana's better than Texas for football.
Fan.
It's facts.
No, it's not.
It's absolutely facts. Louisiana is better. Texas is a bigger state. Per capita, Louisiana puts more people in the NFL
I don't know that statistic, so I'm not going to argue with you.
That's facts. You guys are bigger. Y'all got a lot of white boys, and that's cool. They play quarterback. They throw the ball around. But overall, Louisiana is better.
I feel like it's not even quarterbacks. that you can just hype up.
Oh, no. Texas got mad quarterbacks.
No, but we got black players that do. You're like, y'all got white boys.
Yeah.
What?
We don't put on the quarterbacks.
I don't have a laptop. I'm not even going to challenge you on the statistic right now, but don't act like Texas is not synonymous with football.
Texas is synonymous with football because of hype.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like hype. But I'll tell you straight up, Louisiana, it's overall, we have a higher, you know what I'm saying? Alabama. Okay, so
I got some statistics.
What?
I got some numbers.
I'm looking at it now.
No, I want to hear from Donnie.
Well, okay, go ahead.
Well, I guess the source matters. I'm on actionnetwork.com, and they say that Texas has 211 active NFL players, and Louisiana has 102.
It's Donnie. See, this is my problem.
Thank you, Donnie. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Okay, Donnie, hold on for a second. This is my problem with idiots.
I'm just throwing numbers out there.
So this is my problem. Donnie, how many people are in Texas?
Okay, let me find the numbers. Hold on. It's more than Louisiana.
So Texas has 29 million people in the state. Now, how many people are in Louisiana? 7 million people.
Listen.
So obviously the gross numbers, they're going to have more people. That's why you have to use per capita.
Okay, but get the statistics to fit your narrative. We got more players in the NFL. I don't care that we have 29 million people in Texas.
This is my problem with...
My point is that Texas is synonymous with football.
Texas is synonymous with football.
It's not just hype. So what we have more people?
Texas is synonymous with football because Texas does have a very strong football culture. That's facts. I'm not even joking about that. That's facts. What I'm telling you right now is that Louisiana produces more players per capita. And to me, better players than Texas.
So you can keep your opinions to yourself. That's fine.
What's the best quarterback ever from Texas? That ever came from Texas? Oh, what's the best quarterback that ever came from Louisiana? Peyton Manning.
Let me look.
What's the best running back?
Oh, is that where he was born?
Yeah, he's from New Orleans. He's a fake-ass Louisianian, but won all the same. Louisiana. Marshall Faulk. Okay? Right? Even right now, currently in the league, Devontae Smith, Louisiana. Odell Beckham Jr., Louisiana. Jamar Chase, Louisiana. Justin Jefferson, Louisiana. Like, I could just continue to go on, up and down. Leonard Fournette, Louisiana. Like, I could just keep going up and down the list. We do our thing, and we don't get credit because Texas got 30 million people in it.
You get credit. Nobody's denying that good football, or is not saying good football players don't come from Louisiana. Right. We just have more.
See, he's got more people. You know what? I'm so annoyed now. This whole thing has bothered me.
Anyways, we'll go back to the White House Correspondents' Center. It was great.
You liked it?
You know, I was really excited to see Jonathan Lemire. I watch Morning Joe every morning. I didn't see Joe Scarborough, but I was like, Jonathan Lemire.
You like Morning Joe?
I do.
It's a good show.
I enjoy it. Yeah. But I mean, everybody was there.
Who else? Give me somebody else.
I met John Fetterman and his wife. Oh. I met the two Justins.
They were there?
They were there.
Protesting outside.
Yeah, but I didn't see for what. I kept my head down.
They were protesting outside
and just kept walking.
I think the environment. I saw that they were protesting outside.
They were protesting. I just kept
Wait a minute.
moving.
So the Justins protested, then they came inside?
No. Oh, wait. They were protesting.
Yeah. One of the Justins was outside.
Protesters.
Oh, one of the Justins was outside protesting, or at least I feel like he joined. No, Justin Pearson joins White House Correspondents' Dinner protest. They were calling for a climate fight for justice. So, what I didn't realize was that he joined the protest, then went inside.
Yeah, I met them both.
If that's not a motherfucking politician, I'm sorry, man. Like if that's not a motherfucking politician right there, I thought that he showed up and protested.
No,
and then
which one is that, with the afro or the ponytail?
Afro. That's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
He was there with his wife.
Yeah, shout out to him. I like him.
I took pictures with both. I said we talk about you on our podcast. Love to have you come on. You know, appreciate the work you do. I did the whole thing. I was excited to meet the Justins.
Mm-hmm. They both were there. They both
were there.
But I'm saying they both protested.
Okay.
And then they called for, and then they went inside.
Pulled out their tickets and they went inside.
I guess if you think about it deeper, maybe that's what you want. No, for some reason, it doesn't feel right. It feels like either you protest outside or you go to the dinner. It doesn't feel like you do both.
But what was the protest about?
Climate justice. They want climate shit now.
I think it would depend on what they were if the protest was directly tied to what was happening inside the dinner, then it would feel wrong. But it really wasn't. So
well, no, they're calling out President Biden over certain things that he's done and certain decisions that he's made, and they're asking him to do things, and they're asking him to be sort of a more. They're asking for more direct action on climate. I mean,
I don't think then I don't think it's bad that they went inside, because the whole Correspondents' Dinner is about celebrating the First Amendment and celebrating journalists, not necessarily particularly Biden. Biden is there. He speaks. He does his jokes. He talks about certain things in regards to, freedom of the press, freedom of speech. But then if they went out and protested and then they came inside, I mean, I don't think it discredits anything that they.
I don't think it discredits anything. I think ideally for me, it's better if there's somebody protesting and somebody inside, and those people are simpatico. I, for some reason, would want two people there instead of somebody that protests, then goes inside. I think this is an interesting thought exercise, just because it seems to me that you kind of can't have it both ways there.
I think you can, because it's impactful, because we're talking about it right now. They were there. I was there and I didn't know what they were protesting. Now we're talking about them being there and the fact they protested and what they were protesting about. Their presence alone to that protest brings more attention to it. And then they go inside, and I'm sure they were talking about it to people, So I don't know if that's typically done by people who attend the Correspondents' Dinner.
They accused Biden of ecocide. And I'm looking at that right now. Look, here's the deal. I get it. In a perfect world, yes. I understand it. It's interesting to me whenever politicians try to become activists. I don't think that politicians make good activists. I think they make very poor activists. I think politics itself, there are too many platitudes, too many deals, too many things that you have to do in order to be effective in that arena that are always going to water down and depower any activism that you would do.
Politicians don't make good activists. Can an activist make a good politician?
Once an activist becomes a politician, they're now a politician and not an activist.
Okay.
I think that activists and politicians should work together, not be one and the same.
Gotcha.
So, as Dr. King can push LBJ to pass things, to talk about things, to do different things. He can be a part of that political process. But the moment that you become the president, or the moment that you run for office, there are a lot of things that are going to take away the purity of a message that you should have as an activist. So that's all I'm saying. But look, hey, those guys are great. I love them.
Yes, I was excited to see them.
Good to see them both. And they're not in a position right now to see the people outside talking about it and then just pass them up. They got to stop outside and say something. All right. Another discussion.
Also, Ayanna Pressley. I just want to say shout out to her.
Ayanna Pressley was there?
Congresswoman. Let me give her respect. Mm-hmm.
I mean, what did you guys, did you talk to her?
Yeah, she saw me and she introduced herself. I go, I know exactly who you are.
Oh, she introduced herself to you?
I was like, I know
Rachel,
who you are.
Rachel, can I be
I was like, are you kidding me?
Do you feel like you downplay your litness? You try to act like you're not lit sometimes.
I
Nigga,
don't
you lit as
know,
fuck.
because I don't, it was different. I wasn't expecting that. Because I was like, are you kidding me? I love the squad.
Donnie.
No, I
Donnie.
don't. I'm not.
Is Donnie there?
Yeah. What's up?
Is Rachel lit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what the hell?
Donnie, you're sweet.
Like Rachel.
That's a word I don't even use. That's a word I don't use. That's not in my vocabulary. But I agree with you.
Thank you, Donnie. You're redeemed from the horrible Texas-Louisiana situation.
Hey, man, facts.
You've come back.
Just numbers.
Like, does Rachel try to downplay how lit she is?
Yes.
She's so humble.
Humility is cool though too. That's also dope.
Our humble
so
queen,
those are two dope things.
I just never walk into a space and assume people know who I am. Yeah. Ever.
You're on The Bachelorette. People know you.
Maybe I just don't want people to know me from The Bachelorette. Maybe that's
you know that you're the Jackie Robinson of ABC.
Stop. I think Z-Way said I was the Rosa Parks. And I was like, please stop. Stop.
All right. Other side of this break, the fun of pleasantries comes to an end with a terrible story from Texas. All right. A Texas man fatally shoots 5 neighbors after he was asked to stop firing in his yard. This happened Saturday morning. One of the neighbors asked him to stop firing rounds in his yard because of the noise. Francisco Oropeza is the man's name. He fled the scene and is not in custody as of this recording. The manhunt is ongoing. He was firing a .223 chambered AR-15 style rifle. He was asked to stop firing it because it was loud. He was in his yard doing it. And apparently, after that, he walked into his neighbor's house and killed 5 people, shot them all in the head. And when I say killed 5 people, we're talking about women, children, ages 25, 21, 31, 18, and 9, all from Honduras. Rachel, this story broke, I think, probably while you were in D.C.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, here we are talking about it again. It's like gun culture is American culture. Gun violence is American culture. It's so embedded in our society that as sure as you're going to see, I don't know, a car wreck on the freeway, you're going to hear about some type of mass shooting or gun violence. It's so unique to the United States. And like, you know, we can get on here and we can discuss like, you know, why things are the way that they are, or why America is it's such a bigger problem for America than any other country in this world. We can do all that. We can talk about like what the NRA says and why it's not a people problem. It's a mental health problem. Like, and you can go back and forth with these statistics, but the issue is that the way that we look at civilians possessing guns and how ingrained that is in our culture, in our politics, and even in our laws, that this is our reality and this is what we come to expect. It's just you're going to wake up each day and you know, like dread looking at the alert on your phone of another mass shooting. And nothing's changing. And at this point, nothing is going to change. It's almost like how do you survive and function in this culture? And I don't know what that is, especially when the shootings are so random. Knocking on the wrong door, pulling into the wrong driveway, knocking on the wrong car door, asking your neighbor to stop shooting, going to a birthday party, a grocery store, a church, I mean, a mall, a movie theater. It's how do you prevent it?
Right.
How do you protect yourself at this point? And the answer is not everybody strapped up and carrying their own gun. That's not the answer.
So obviously this was going to be politicized. And it was by Governor Greg Abbott of Texas. Mm. He called the victims here illegal immigrants. I've announced a $50,000 reward for the info on the criminal who killed 5 illegal immigrants today.
What a piece of shit.
I continue working with the state, with state and local officials to ensure they have all available resources to respond to this horrific crime. Our hearts go out to the families and loved ones of the 5 victims that were taken in this senseless act of tragedy. The governor's office has walked that statement back since. The immigration status of various members of the family has been found out, and the governor was wrong about parts of what he said. And after pressure from different groups, they've walked that back just a little bit. And of course, the shooter in this case, it's been widely discussed that this gentleman has been deported a couple of times and is in the country illegally. and has been arrested before. Has been arrested before for DUIs. ICE had deported him a couple of different times, a couple of different years. He had been sentenced to driving while intoxicated in January 2012. And then in January 2016, he was deported. In September 2009, he was deported a couple of times. Here's the thing. So that opens this up to be volleyed around as a political football, like a family slaughtered because they dare to ask somebody to stop shooting the AR-15 in their front yard. So what's going to be talked about now is the fact that this guy should have never been in the United States in the first place. The fact that maybe the parts of the family shouldn't have been in the United States in the first place. So the right is going to have you believe that there shouldn't have been a victim, there shouldn't have been a shooter. In their perfect, ethnically clean world, you wouldn't have had these people in the country. And that, to me, ignores one huge fact. Let's say everyone here is undocumented, just for the sake of argument. They're not. Okay? They're not. And this guy's status as to how he got in the country initially is still up for debate. There's still information coming out. The question would be, if this is a person, the shooter, with a criminal record that had been deported a couple of different times by ICE, that seems to have a pretty well-documented drinking problem, how did they get an AR-15?
Right.
And that's the only question that if anybody cares about what's going on here, will ask. It's the only question. It's not where he came from. Mm-hmm. It's not where they came from. It's how somebody that so obviously is unqualified to have a gun like that. That's how they got it. Because I want you to remember, for everyone, in the majority of these cases that we're talking about, the first thing that you hear is the gun was obtained legally. And that's important for people to say because they want people to know the ease of access to getting a weapon like that. To pick one up. People that are talking about trying to stem the tide in terms of gun violence and mass shootings, what the most sensible of those people are talking about are making sure that people that have a proclivity to violence or that are prone to it can't access the most dangerous weapons that they can get in their hands. And for a citizen like this guy who is obviously irresponsible, and it seems, at least by looking at this right now, DUI is a felony, is it not?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. It seems to be a felon, like how he would get his hands on the gun. And we can sort of ask a bunch of different questions and kind of throw it out there in all kinds of different ways. Could have been somebody else's gun. Did he, is it somebody he was living with? Did they have the gun? Like, how did he, the gun was familiar enough to him that this wasn't the first time that they had issues with him shooting it. It seemed to be a weapon that he knew how to use. It seemed to be a weapon that he had in his possession. That seems to be his rifle. And that, in and of itself, is the entire problem with what we're discussing. There's two different conversations to be had. One is about people, the other one is about guns. Obviously, there's a point in which those two conversations intersect. Of course there is.
Sure.
But we have to have one first. And that's the way that it is. We have to have one first. And the first conversation we have to have is about the guns.
Right. DWI is a misdemeanor for the first offense in Texas.
DWI is a misdemeanor.
Just FYI.
Okay, cool.
But that's the whole purpose. You're absolutely right. And these politicians know that the conversation should first be about guns, which is why that tweet came from Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott purposefully tweeted that they were illegal because that was his way of showing that trying to show that it was a people problem rather than actual guns. So before you start the conversation of guns are an issue, he obtained this gun illegally, he never should have had it, all of that, everything that you just laid out, he's trying to put first the fact that this person should have never had the gun. The person who pulled the trigger is the problem, not the guns. Mm-hmm. And that's the dance that we're going to continue to see whenever we're faced with one of these mass shootings. It's a dance between the two. And they'll never put the guns first because it's too ingrained in our society. I mean, the amount of the number of guns that exist in the United States, I believe I read a statistic, is more. There are more guns than people, right?
Of course. Without a doubt.
More guns than people in the United States. And the ones that you can get, and that's not even counting the black market ones, mm-hmm. which most likely is how this guy obtained it.
So I think there's another reason why Governor Abbott described the victims the way he did. I think it was to intimate to people that they didn't have to worry about it as much.
It was to what?
I personally think that the only reason why you say illegal immigrants were shot is to dog whistle to people that this is not one that you have to be concerned about.
You have to care about, right? To devalue their life.
Yeah,
absolutely. That too.
Yeah. Well, you know, I would say that we're going to keep going through this until we decide that we're going to do something about it, but we're not. We're not. We're going to push it around by the NRA. We're going to have conversations in good faith until we good faith ourselves right into getting shot in the fucking face. That's the way that goes. All right. White families. What's your feeling of them? What's your feeling of like white families?
You're going to have to give me more.
It's like a white family, you know? Like a black man, white family. Listen, all his family is like white. Maybe not even white, but they're just like.
I need more.
So,
a black man in a white family.
Just before we even get into it, just black man, white family. He's black, and then all of his relatives are like white or like
by marriage,
Latino. Yeah, yeah. He loves them. He loves them more than he loves his other kids.
Oh, he loves them more.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Well, that's a problem.
You feel like that's a problem?
It's just, why are you loving one kid more than the other?
You don't feel like people do that?
I don't think people are outspoken about it.
Yeah.
I think parents have their favorites, but I don't think that they say it out loud. And if they do, they shouldn't.
Brian McKnight seemingly has told his black family that he is not coming back at one. This nigga's never coming back. Okay. It seems as if...
What is wrong with you?
You know what I mean? He's keeping his black family on the down low because he's never felt this way as he feels right now about his new non-black family. All right? And people are mad. He posted something on Instagram. It shows his stepdaughter, Julia. She's posing in front of a car that he and his wife gave her for her birthday, and that bitch is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That bitch is crazy. Like, Julia got like a BMW or a Mercedes or something? That bitch is fucking crazy. I saw Julia driving that. Shout out to Julia, man. And he under it, he said, "I couldn't ask for a better daughter than you. Happy birthday to the best daughter. Love you a zillion." Happy birthday to the best daughter. Love you a zillion. He has 3 biological children from previous relationships. Brian Jr., Brianna, and Nico. His second wife is Dr. Leilani Mendoza. He met her in 2014. She has 2 children from a previous relationship, Julia and Jack. They have since had a son, Brian Jr. So this nigga has 2 Brian Jr.'s. This nigga had a Brian Jr. before. This is some nasty work. I'm sorry, bro.
I gotta blame the doctor as well in this.
This nigga had 2 Brian Jr.'s before.
To do a Brian Jr.
He had Brian Jr. before. He got another Brian Jr. He took a fucking mulligan.
He said the first one didn't count.
And so, it seems like he's ignoring it seems like he's ignoring his biological children. And people are mad because there's a racial component here because...
It don't matter about the racial component. They should just be mad, period. If he did this with another Black woman, sure, that's a problem as well. But of course, people are saying, well, it seems like you don't care about your kids because they're Black and now you've moved on to this. I'm not sure her ethnicity. Yeah. You've moved on to a non-Black woman and you seem to value your stepchildren and the child that you've made with her more than your other 3 biological children with a Black woman. What happened to Brian McKnight? Or has he always been like this?
What you mean what happened to him?
This isn't the first time that he's been accused of abandoning his children. It's like every couple of years we go through this with Brian McKnight. He says he does something outrageous where it's like, what the fuck is wrong with Brian McKnight?
I never knew this. Everybody has all of these issues with Brian McKnight. I only knew him as a tall dude with a decent jump shot, actually a good jump shot, who has a velvety voice. I never knew there was all of these issues with Brian McKnight. But people are mad, man.
Like, I'd say once he divorced his wife and then he was making these songs with these titles, people had issues with him. So with the doctor that he's married to right now, they had a child. They were pregnant before and they lost that child. And this is what he wrote. For the very first time in my life, I got to experience what it was like to want to and plan to have a child made from love. And even though he was separated from us too soon, I wouldn't trade that gift you gave me for anything in the whole world. He goes on to say, I've never been prouder in my life than I am right now, being the father to our 3 incredible children.
So
that was prior to this moment. So he has a history of ignoring the first 3 children, basically saying he did not want them or plan to have them, and they were not made from love. Brian's words.
Yeah.
The fuck is wrong? I can't listen to a Brian McKnight song the same way.
You're off Brian McKnight because of this?
I've been off him though. Because I knew he was already like this. But in what
song did he ever say that he was like a great dad?
It's not even that. I don't even want to support. I can't feel his music the same way. Just knowing that he's this deadbeat father.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the song titles here from Brian McKnight.
Which album?
Just all of them. Brian McKnight is a great artist. What I'm wondering about is this, because everybody's upset. And obviously, guys, there's sometimes something that men do with their second family that's fucked up. We know this. It went bad with mama, and then like the second family is like, oh my God, this was when I was on top and I get to choose all of this stuff. And you just wonder like what somebody is thinking. Like how your children are supposed to feel when they say, hey, this is made out of love and it was planned and all of that. But then with this one, just the visual, I don't give a fuck what nobody say. That's funny as fuck. It's funny as fuck to see Brian McKnight looking like a 6'5" California raisin. Standing next to his family. You know what I mean? And talking about, yo, this is all my family. You know it's a bunch of motherfucking Black people out there going, yo, where the fuck is my dad? It's just, I don't give a fuck what nobody say. There's some deep down. Because look, I would never even want to, my thing is this, I wouldn't even want to come off that way. Like, I wouldn't even want people to think.
It's because you care.
I wouldn't want to even come off that way. To this seems like a sketch. Like, he's got to look crazy.
He does not care. This is what I said, what happened to him. So in 2019, when people were on him, okay, they've been on him. He's been exposed. He's been out there. He put out a video. So if you thought that was bad, he said, it was important to let you guys know and set the record straight. These kids are 30 and 27, not 12. It's time for grown men to be grown men. And I'm sorry that tough love happens to be this way. And I do wish them the best.
Wow.
He does not care. He doesn't care.
So, what was the point of that? Like, what's the point? The point is that your kids get to a certain age and then they're not your kids no more?
Yeah, like they're grown men. But he doesn't even acknowledge it. That doesn't mean that. That's what's so messed up about this. Okay, we get that they're adults. And they're grown. But does that mean that you stop acknowledging your kids after they get past a certain age?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Man.
Brian, if he's trying to make another album, record sales, well, he did recently have an album because people were tripping about the type of his lyrics.
Yeah. Look, I don't know, man. You know what I feel like, really? Like, I wish I didn't know this.
See? It affects you.
Well, it's just, there's something that's happening. I'm serious. The internet is extending our knowledge of celebrities to a point to where they can't help but do some really fucked up, crazy shit.
Okay, that's not what this is.
What I'm saying is that, like, there used to be a point, and I'm just throwing this out there, there used to be a point to where somebody was famous, and then one day it was like, oh, what happened to them? And like, you never saw them.
Sure.
Unless it was like BET, Where Are They Now? Or if, Motown 35 with Brian McKnight. And he comes out and then he sings Never Felt This Way, and then it's gone. And then you see in the crowd this new family clapping, and you go, what the fuck? Oh, they must have got a divorce, and you didn't know. But now, because of Instagram, because of Twitter, because of all of this stuff, all of the fucked up parts of these people's lives, it just continuously comes out. And then it's another person that you got to look at their discography crazy. And I'm not saying that obviously I would still listen to Brian McKnight if I want to listen to Brian McKnight. He's a bad dad or he's a fucked up dad or whatever. It's like, whatever. That's not the line for me. But I'm saying it's just like, there was a time where people were famous for a while and then they just like went away.
Sure.
And now, because they're not going away, I feel like we know too much about everybody. Everybody keeps going on.
We do.
I
understand what you're saying, but that is not the case with Brian. It's not like that somebody dug up some old tweets. This man is outwardly presenting himself to the world as a deadbeat dad and doesn't care.
But if this were 95, it would be no way for him to do that. If this were 95...
You know what? He would be doing it in private. He would be doing it. His kids would still be suffering.
Right.
He'd still be the same terrible father that he is to more than half of his children. But we just wouldn't know about it. Is that better? So we would still be buying his records.
It's better for me.
We'd still be... Okay, so ignorance is bliss to you when it comes to your favorite celebrities. It's cool. We got it.
It's better for me. It's better for me because I look at him totally different now, and it's just but I don't even need Brian McKnight. You know why? I've been listening to?
Maxwell.
H-Town.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I've been listening to They Like It Slow. Coming back, that ain't gonna go nice and slow. Don't you know they like it slow? Like, if you listen to the chorus of that song, I've been listening to They Like It Slow. Like,
just that song?
Oh my God, man. Like,
well, I'm from Texas. I'm familiar with the H-Town.
I've been listening to They Like It Slow. And he talks about in the song how you supposed to make love slowly to your lady. I tell you straight up right now, you R&B niggas out there, y'all done fell way the fuck off. I'm sorry. Like, I listen to, so look the shit I've been listening to.
Bring one of your R&B friends to come on and contest
the R&B
this.
niggas out here, just straight up, y'all done fell way the fuck off. I listened to They Like It Slow this morning. I listened to Knocking the Boots this morning.
What kind of mood did you wake up in?
I listened to Weak by SWV. I listened to these motherfucking records, right? No, H-Town is fantastic. Fantastic. No one would consider H-Town as one of the pioneering groups.
They had the depth too soon.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is H-Town is just infinitely better than most of the motherfuckers putting R&B out right now. I'm just saying. H-Town,
right now.
I go back and I listen to H-Town right now and I listen to them sing, and they were a hit group, and they're better than, like, to me, anybody out that's out right now doing R&B.
H-Town is one of the first things that Brian and I connected on.
Brian like H-Town?
Loves H-Town.
I bet he does. Nice. They're coming about that ain't gonna go. Donnie, you ever heard that shit? Nice and slow? They Like It Slow?
Yeah, I like that. And that Emotions song.
Part-Time Lover?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Emotions.
Oh, yeah. How did I forget about Emotions? Good job, Donnie.
Look. You want to go fast?
Roger Troutman.
You want to go fast? Nah, you got to go slow. Now watch when it comes in. When it comes in, it's so perfect because it's gonna get you in the mood. Watch. Slow.
Stop.
I'm telling you, man. Like that shit is that's the R&B that we need.
Donnie hit the nail on the head though with emotions.
What?
Because we were out there singing them ages. Now that I'm 19, play emotions. Play emotions.
Emotions by H-Town?
You don't know it?
I don't know Emotions.
Donnie.
I don't know Emotions by H-Town.
Emotions make you cry sometime.
I don't know that. I know.
And now that I'm 19.
I only know a couple of H-Town songs. These are the songs that I know.
Well, you're part of the problem.
No.
You ain't listening to all of H-Town.
No, hold on.
You're going to throw it out there. You better know H-Town.
I'm listening to Knocking the Boots, A Thin Line Between Love and Hate.
Emotions might be one of their biggest hits.
Let me see. Maybe, do I know this one? Do I know this joint? Oh, I do know this joint. This is a gospel joint. It's kind of like a gospel song.
It's not a gospel
joint. I know
joint.
this song, but this one is not on the level of A Day Like It Slow. Come on. Y'all not fucking with H-Town. Period. Like R&B niggas today. Y'all not fucking with H-Town. I'm sorry. Y'all not fucking with H-Town. Nice and slow. They like it slow. Nice and slow is Usher. Jack Harlow says he's the hardest white boy after Eminem on a new song. I can't believe we're covering this. Actually, you know what? I don't really give a fuck about this. Good. If Jack says that, that's true.
Is that how you feel?
I'm trying. Like I tried to. We're light on political topics. It's Monday. If Jack says that, that's facts. I don't know. I don't know.
I think that was taken out of context when you listen to the whole thing, but that's just me. I think he said he was striving to be. I didn't think he said that he actually is.
If you're Jack Harlow, why would you be striving to be the hardest white boy after Eminem? Why don't you strive to be the hardest white boy, period?
I think he's just knowing that he won't be better than Eminem.
You don't think there's any way that Jack Harlow could be better than Eminem?
No. The Roots said, and I had to quote this because this made me laugh. They said, even though Jack Harlow will never have bars, the one thing he will always have is the audacity. I don't know why that was the first sentence of the article. I said, oh my God, that was ruthless.
Can I ask a question? What made people just turn on Jack Harlow?
Okay.
Because Jack Harlow, the Jack Harlow backlash, the sort of we're not fucking with Jack Harlow thing came quick.
It did. And I feel like something happened. What?
Was it the KFC deal or probably Brandy?
It can't be.
No.
It
was before that. It's almost like when he changed his image. Because, like he didn't look at what Jack Harlow looked like when he started to now. So I don't know if people changed on him. I don't know, but I agree with you. Black people are not fucking with Jack Harlow right now. Mm-hmm. But when did it happen? Because
I don't know if I would say that black people aren't fucking with Jack Harlow.
Black media seems to not be.
It seems that people are jumping off the Jack Harlow bandwagon. And this is what I think happens with that. I think that to be a white rapper, because we've seen this before, to be a white rapper, your shit has to be so undeniable. Like, your shit has to be so undeniable. Like, America doesn't really accept rampant mediocrity from white rappers. Because,
that's the only time they don't accept mediocrity.
Facts.
Mediocrity from white folks.
Because think about it. You come on, you're Macklemore, you're coming on, you're doing your thing. Macklemore.
God, I don't consider him a rapper, but okay.
Macklemore is definitely a rapper.
I know because of the Grammy, but I just think of him as pop.
I mean, he's whatever. But so if you come up and you do your thing and then you don't have another level or another gear, people would be like, we got mediocre black niggas. Like, we got mediocre black rappers. Why do we need a mediocre white rapper? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying Jack Harlow is mediocre by any stretch of imagination.
I don't think he is
but
either.
But I think a lot of people think that he is, and it's just because it seemed like the hate came out of nowhere.
And he can't catch a break because he's got this new song, and this is where he has the lyric, and then he also has, I don't know if it's on this song or another song where he's talking about cultural appropriation, and he's calling out white kids in the suburbs, and they're like, "That's you." What you don't get is you talking about yourself. And I'm like, damn, Jack Harlow can't catch a break. This is black media talking.
Is it cultural appropriation just to rap?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. I think if you're like an Iggy Azalea, where you don't talk anything like that, and then your rap is also the way that you rap. You're trying to sound like what you think is Black, and your whole image is Black. She's cultural appropriation.
Let's call Mouse Jones, noted New York podcaster, someone who always has a lot of things to say about white rappers in the culture. Let's call Mouse Jones.
Ask what he thinks about
and see
Jack Harlow first.
What Mouse thinks about Jack Harlow. Let's call Mouse.
Van, what's poppin'?
Mouse, you are on Higher Learning right now.
I'm on Higher Learning?
Yes, you're on Higher Learning right now because we have to ask you. We're talking about Jack Harlow. I needed to know what Mouse, noted fan of white rappers, thinks about Jack Harlow. Mouse, what's up?
I don't think about Jack Harlow at all. He does not come across any playlist of mine. I think his outputting get lazier and lazier by the project, especially his last one. Ain't nobody asked for it, and he still gave us that whack ass project.
God damn.
Yeah, I think Jack Harlow is the white boy of the moment. It is no need for rappers to get concerned, or hip hop at large to be concerned and think there's a white invasion. He is just the current white rapper who will move along in about 2 more projects, and then he'll be doing like acting, or like he'll be getting credited for like stepping away from hip hop and doing some weird ass other music. But it's the Kid Rock, the what's the kid's name now? Post Malone. All these people. It's just a matter of time before he bans hip hop and does this other thing, and then tries to condemn hip hop, and so it's like lazy.
Mouse,
like Post Malone did.
Hi, Mouse. Rachel.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi. So we were trying to figure out when it seems like, because I feel like when Jack Harlow first came out, people were really fucking with him.
Mouse loved him.
And then Mouse did not.
Yes, you did.
And Mouse it seems as of recent that, I would say in the last year, that Black media is kind of really off Jack Harlow, not giving him a break. Like everything that he does, they're scrutinizing. I think, and I just looked this up, it seems like it was after he got that nomination at the BET Awards. When did it when do you think it happened? Or do you think that Black people were never really on Jack Harlow?
Yeah, I don't think, Black people were never on Jack Harlow. Black people aren't the reason that Jack Harlow popped. We might have been the reason, or Black people might have been the reason he got a few quote unquote cultural looks, but Jack Harlow wasn't, he was never being championed by Black people. He had the Tyler Hero record, which is an ode to another white person in a different.
That record sucks.
He had the What's Poppin' remix.
I like that.
And then Drama signed him. Drama seen an opportunity to make some money. Drama said this will work. He was probably, I don't know how, but he was probably impressed by whatever mediocre talent that Jack Harlow possesses, and then use his Rolodex to get him some big looks. And that's a huge. He's over there at Atlantic. That's an unlimited production budget. So he's gonna get the Gwen Stefani remixes, and he's gonna get the Pharrell samples cleared and all that shit for that second album. That was super lazy. I will say there's like 2 or 3 songs that I do like on that second project. But yeah, other than that, he's just lazy. And I think he's giving his best, but it's just laziness. Yeah.
Mouse, who's the greatest? Who is the best white rapper ever? Who's the best? Mouse, who's the best white rapper ever?
Michael Jackson.
Get the fuck off my phone, nigga. Bye. It's Mouse Jones. You'll hear me on this podcast next week. I'll be in New York. All right, shout out to Drama, man. Shout out to Generation Now. I have no issues with Jack Harlow. It's not for me, but I see why people like it. Jack a rap. It's just, people not fucking with it no more. It seems to be over. People are looking for reasons to hate. Once people start looking for reasons to hate, it gets hard to overcome.
Yeah. I was just thinking too about the collaborations that he's had with other rappers, and if that's the reason that he came on so fast too. But I'm trying to think of like who else has he rapped with other than Lil Nas X? Drake.
The Lil Nas X feature was dope.
Absolutely Drake. I think it was the BET Awards.
I think that the hate for Jack Harlow is misplaced.
Is the BET Awards. Because even Nas tweeted something and he deleted it. People were upset that he got nominated for that. They remember Macklemore, even though that was the Grammy, and they didn't want that to happen again. I think that's when people turned on him. I'll be honest with you.
I personally don't think that you should be able to be nominated for a BET Award if you aren't Black.
But so I really think that's when people turned. That was a year ago? 2 years ago?
And
And remember Lil Nas X wasn't nominated?
Right.
And so people were like, what the fuck?
To me, I think that BET Awards for Black people. And look, people are going to be like, oh, it's like whatever. Let me just keep it all the way real. I'm a gatekeeper. Gatekeep. You got to gatekeep your culture, because if you don't gatekeep your culture, then the gates open up and anybody can run in. And that's what happens. To me, I don't think that there should be white people nominated for BET Awards. I don't give a fuck if they made the hardest hip hop shit ever. They're going to win all the other awards. They're going to give them all kinds of shit. BET Awards should be a place where like a Lil Zane has a chance. Like I'm serious.
Talking about people we hadn't heard from in a while.
Look, like to me, like you have to keep the BET Awards pure, because that's where some of the artists that aren't going to get recognition are going to be able to go to get recognition. I don't care. Fuck it. All right. On the other side of this break, Erica Dickerson and Jamilah Mapp, Good Moms, Bad Choices. The name of the book is A Good Mom's Guide to Making Bad Choices. We're going to talk about motherhood. We're going to talk about the perfect baby daddy. We're going to talk about what you can and cannot do after you drop a child. All right, you guys, this is a book you have to buy, okay? The name of the book is A Good Mom's Guide to Making Bad Choices. The authors of this book, Erica Dickerson, Jamilah Mapp, are here with us today. They also are the hosts of one of the best podcasts out, a podcast that has grown in relevance throughout the course of its existence and is now cooking. Good Moms, Bad Choices. It's the name of the podcast. These are homegirls, Erica and Mila. Mila and Erica, welcome to Higher Learning. How you guys doing?
Hi, what a wonderful, warm welcome. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you, Van. And hello, Rachel. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Hi, guys. Nice to meet you, too. I feel like listening to your podcast, I know you, which I'm sure attributes to, there are a number of reasons why you guys are successful, but just listening to you, I'm like, I feel like I know them. You're very familiar to me. So, I mean, it's great to talk to you guys in person. So thank you for coming on the show.
So the book, we'll start there. A Good Mom's Guide to Making Bad Choices. I feel like that's a very interesting title, because in that title, there's an expectation. The expectation is the choices that moms should make. Okay, I feel like that comes with that. What do you guys feel like the expectations are that mothers should make? What are moms expected to do?
Moms are expected to sacrifice their happiness, their souls. I think for real,
Right.
honestly, I think moms, like there's this unwritten rule that once you become a mother, there's all these things you have to give up. There's all these things that you can't love or like. You have to lose your old self to kind of like dive into your child. And if you don't, like, you're not a good mom. And, that's really why we wrote this book and started the podcast to challenge this idea that motherhood should be self-sacrificial.
I think that it appeals to me so much. I'm not a mom, but planning on being one. And I just love that you guys, speak from this place of like, you don't have to lose your identity. You don't have to lose all sense of self. You can be who you are and a mom at the same time. Is that like, were you having these conversations amongst yourself and you're like, this is why we should start this podcast. This is why we should write this book. Because I feel like nobody else, especially women of color, are out here talking about, identity and self-love and self-care and being a mom and making mistakes in the ways that you are.
Well, I think that's really been the journey of our show. Me and Mila started the show not really as friends at all. We became friends really out of desperation.
Like us.
Exactly. So our audience has really joined us on the journey of getting to know us as friends. They've seen our friendship grow. And when we started the show, we really didn't think anyone was listening. So we really didn't hold back on sharing all the shit. And I don't know if we really even knew that that was the message we were delivering. I don't even know if we were all the way, we hadn't stepped all the way into that idea. There was definitely an element in my motherhood that I felt like I had to be self-sacrificing. And I think through our conversations, through talking to different women in the community, through our guests, through our journeys as single moms, dating, exploring, fucking up, like trying to rectify our bad choices, we've come to this understanding that, if you're not aligned and really understanding that your pleasure and that you as a woman, if you fill your cup up first, that's really how you can kind of step into being a good parent. If you are depleted and you are putting everything, including your pleasure, second, third, fourth, fifth, you can't really show up for anyone. And I really learned that throughout the course of the podcast. And it's a balance. It's something we still, I think, are still trying to balance. We always say on our show, we are not perfect mothers. We do not have all the answers. And that's why we're good moms, bad choices.
Let me tell you what really happened. What really happened was we were both really sad, and we're the both first moms of our group. And we were desperately looking for other women who could relate. And then we hung out, surfaced, and then we both broke up with our partners. And that was devastating, especially as Black women. Being like a single Black mom is like this stereotypical, terrible place. And she came to a birthday party that I invited her to because I heard she also was having a breakup. And I was like, oh, finally, someone exactly in the same position as me. And she told me, she's like, hey, girl, I joined Tinder. I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, and I met a couple and they're fine as hell. And they're also parents and I'm seeing them. And I said, I like this bitch more than I ever thought I did. I was like, oh, she's spicier than I thought. And now I really feel like there's a place for us to start a friendship. And then shortly after that, she said, I've been listening to podcasts and it was mostly murder mystery. And like, I'm not a podcast person, even till this day. And she was like, and there's no mommy podcast. There's really not a lot of Black mom podcasts. And there's definitely not a lot of single mom podcasts. So I wanted to know if you wanted to start a podcast. And I said, are you going to tell the story about your couple? And she said, yes. And then I said, okay, well, I said, well, then we can do this. And then we're like, okay, we both smoke weed and we're both with the shits. And so this is where that idea was birthed from. We didn't have like a full plan. We didn't think this was going to be like a full-fledged business. We didn't think that far. But her honesty, just being honest and transparent about where she was in her dating life as a mom made me feel comfortable to connect with her. And then we realized like, maybe there's other moms who also are human. Let's find them. And that's where the bad choices, and in this case was a really good choice for Erica because it was a really beautiful situation. She, soiled her single oats. And
so the moral of the story is have threesomes with married couples and find your best friend.
So I'm looking at the chapters in the book. The book is broken down into 3 parts. And these 3 parts are actually the entire journey, it seems like, that you guys went through as mothers. It starts off when you find out that you're pregnant, when you've had the baby, then it goes to the breakup of the baby's father, and then it seems to have a crescendo with understanding who you are and like stepping into your truth as a fully formed woman and mother, which is, I think that's very interesting to me and very powerful because like when I talk about my mom, I don't say her name, I say my mom. Like I talk about her in her relation to me. I don't talk about her as a person. I talk about her as my mother. And so I think it's awesome that in this book, it's a complete sort of dissertation in you guys and who you've been and what you are. How do you, and which brings me to my question, and how do women who are parents like assert their personhood? How do you be something other than just somebody's mom? which is the moment you have a kid, everybody goes, that's so-and-so's mom, that's so-and-so's mom. They want to judge you for everything that you do based upon the fact that you have kids. I see all kinds of fucking crazy shit. It's like, oh, she's skiing. How could she be skiing? She's got kids. What happens if she falls down on the slopes? You know what I mean? So, like, how do you assert who you are when everyone expects you to be like a 1,000% caregiver and live for somebody else's life?
You choose. You choose yourself despite what everybody else expects from you. And it's a conscious choice because society is always going to tell you who you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to show up. There's like this understanding, like you give birth and then you fucking morph into Betty Crocker or some shit. And it's just not realistic. And, even with us, even this far into our journey, even with our platform, there's still people who judge. There's people in our family who are judging, there's our moms are talking shit. We're going out of town. We're running a business. There's even more, levels to this at this point, but it's a choice. And, you have to stand 10 toes down in the choice you've made. I'm clear about who I am. And my daughter is clear that, I'm a human and I'm your mother and I love being your mom. And that's a huge part of who I am. And obviously a huge part of our brand. But, outside of that, I'm a human being. And I think, we have this idea that our mothers are somehow like superhuman, super women. And we are, but not all the time. Sometimes I got to lay down. Sometimes I have to rest and I have to work. And like our kids know that.
There's a humanizing that has to happen and you have to fight for it. It doesn't just show up because like Mila said, society will try its hardest to make you feel like this is the role that you've chosen and this is the role that you have to now step into and that those other parts of you have to die. And so you really have to fight against almost yourself. You have to fight against your programming. And that shit feels uncomfortable. And, Van, I mean, do you know who your mom is outside of being your mom? Like, do you know what her interests are?
I know now. I know now.
I think there's also a level of like kids don't like, they're like, I don't want to know,
Well, no, I know now. I know.
You know now. No, that's something interesting that you said.
I knew my mom is she shares. Maybe overshare.
No, I love Miss Crystal. She's great.
I knew earlier, but I tell you what, when I really knew? I was walking down the street having a conversation with my mother, and my mother said to me something a lot of people are going to judge my mom when they hear that she said this, but it's just real. She goes, son, I have fantasies about what my life would have been if like you would have never been born.
I don't think that's wild to say.
She says that like she told me, she said, I think all the time.
I love that she called it a fantasy.
I'm 67 years old. I think all the I think all the time about what my life would have been like if you and your sister wouldn't have been born. And
I don't think that's crazy.
Whereas I think a lot of people and people I've told that to have gotten mad. My question was, tell me about that life.
Yeah, what did it look like?
Who are you in that
She had some fly shit. You know what I mean? She had some fly shit that she wanted to do.
I love that she indulged and she went ahead and spoke to it. Something that you both just said there. Van said, I know now. You asked, do you know who your mom is as a person outside of being a mom? And Van said, I do now. And I think that's what's so freeing about what you do. Is it that you know now because like you're just older, or is it because, and this is what I feel like is my case, as I've gotten to a certain age, my mom is more willing to share things that she didn't share when we were younger, because that's just what you didn't do. You didn't talk about your business. You didn't put yourself out there. You tried to present that you were a good mom who always made good choices. And you guys are very open of like, we're imperfect people. So do you think that that's maybe some of the disconnect as well, is our parents weren't as open? At least mine wasn't. Now I know my mom in a completely different way.
Absolutely. Especially in the Black household. It's like our business is our business and you keep it in the household. Don't take our business outside of here. Like that's a big saying. And you abide by that because you feel like there's some shame in being honest about who you are. And I think there's also this underlying thing like with moms is like, if I tell you my mistakes, then you're going to feel like it's okay to do the same shit I did. And it's, like if I tell you I did this and you're going to go out the deep end.
Well, there's a level of like, now you feel like you can disrespect me. Like, because now I've humanized myself, or now I'm not your equal, because that's always what parents say. Like, I'm not your friend. Like, I'm not your little friend. right? That's the narrative we hear a lot in our households, right? But I think what me and Mila really advocate for is being honest with our kids, because I think we do our kids such a disservice by lying about who we are, and then they grow up and then they see us as human and they're like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? Like,
Freaknik.
I was at Freaknik as a baby. My parents went to Tuskegee, but I think that there's that's why I am who I am. It's in my DNA. Yeah, what was I going to say? I totally forgot. What I was going to say. My bad.
I want to move on to something anyway. I want to talk about post-traumatic baby daddy disorder.
You like that chapter
AKA,
title?
I do. AKA PTBDD. What is post-traumatic baby daddy disorder? That's chapter 5 in the book. What is that?
When you have a child with somebody, there's this like cord that you have. There's the forever connection. And especially for women, there's like this forever fight to like keep this relationship, and or else you failed your family and you failed your child and you failed yourself, and your happily ever after doesn't exist, you know? And there's trauma that comes with the aftermath. If I choose not to be with you, there's trauma about being a single Black woman. There's a single Black mom. There's trauma, depending on what you experience in that relationship. Like there's trauma that exists in your spirit that you have to kind of work through to be like, this is okay. I can choose myself. I can move forward. I can have a happily ever after. However, this is not what it looks like for me right now, and accepting it and moving on. And I think in that chapter, we kind of really deep dive into how we've seen it affect our moms, how it's affected us, how it kind of made us hold on to things that no longer served us for extended amount of time. I personally experienced like a lot of verbal abuse and like even physical abuse from my past partner, and it lived in my DNA, and I didn't realize it. I didn't acknowledge it. I didn't give myself the space to grieve from it, because I thought like I'm supposed to move forward. I can't dwell in this. I have to move forward. And, even to this day, there's things that I experience that are directly correlated with the trauma that I experienced in that relationship. And it's like, you have to acknowledge it to heal from it. And I'm only like, the book was a part of that healing, releasing it, but it's just like letting women know that you're not alone, you're not crazy. And if you feel this cord that you can't cut, it's because it's real. And it's, society paints this picture is that once you have a child with somebody, you're supposed to be with them forever. And if you don't, you failed. And that's just not the truth.
I think about, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, in relation to that, I talk about my mom's story and asking her specific questions around my childhood early on. And she literally said, I don't remember. Like, there's certain parts of your childhood I don't remember because they were so traumatic in my experience with your father that I've compartmentalized them and put them away. And I think about, even the relationship that I had with my child's father and certain parts of my relationship that I've compartmentalized and I put away. And I thought, wow, not only have I done this, but my mother has done this. And I've talked to my grandmother and she's done this. And it's just this repetitive thing that we as women do when we are in survival mode and ashamed that our perfect family dynamic didn't work out the way that we thought it would. So that's really what that chapter kind of digs into, the daddy issues, all the things.
I love the conversation we're having, and I love the conversations that you'll have on your podcast. And you guys have really created such a community. And when I was listening to your podcast, I thought, it's not just conversations about being a mom. It's about conversations about being a mom, but looking like us and what we experience as well. Why do you think there's so many mom groups out there that are all white, majority white? Why do you think that we don't have these circles and these communities in such a prevalent way like they do in white spaces?
We don't trust each other. There's a deep distrust amongst Black women. And, me and Mila, we call ourselves platonic wives. And that really like upsets men. But in ways we do a lot of the things that a married couple would do without the sex. We share bank accounts. Our daughters travel together. They're in camp together. They're on soccer teams together. Like, we make decisions for our kids together. And, our friendship has been such a catalyst to the community we've been able to build and how we've been able to show up as mothers. And I think a lot of women believe that they don't need other women, and they do. And I think Black women, I think we're starting to wake up to the fact that we need each other, and that we're not crabs in a barrel, and it's like fighting for our men and fighting for our jobs and our position. And, I think that white people have had the privilege of being able to have these sister circles and these sisterhoods from the beginning of time, whereas these kinds of things have been ripped apart from our communities and from each other. And, our community we've built such an amazing community of women, and Black, brown, white, all the things, because one thing that motherhood does is it connects the dots. It doesn't matter, what race you are, however, we speak from a very specific, position, a very specific experience. But I do think that a lot of it has to do with just the history of our people here in America, to be honest, not to bring everything back to, slavery, but slavery.
I mean, even for Erica and I, we met through a mutual friend, but mostly on Instagram, and when I saw her on Instagram and she saw me, I made judgments about her. I was like, when I saw her on Instagram, she was pregnant. Her baby daddy was proposing to her at her baby shower. I wasn't engaged or married, although I was having a baby with my high school sweetheart that I'd known for 15 years. I was like, she's lucky. She's doing it right. They're rich. He's an African prince. He is not, and she made judgments about me. These were the things that initially went through our minds, I'm going to separate myself from you before I befriend you. And, granted, thank God we were desperate for a mom friend, and we're we got to connect either way. We pushed past those things, and kind of a lot of those judgments were projections. That's what I wanted. So that's what I assumed she was experiencing. And same, she saw me. I was at the Roosevelt. I had a champagne and my baby on my hip, my newborn. I was in a bikini, and she was like, who this bitch thinks she is? Why is she at the pool 3 months after giving birth, and but still she made it a point to come and befriend me. And I think the beautiful thing about our podcast is that we've built our friendship over the years on the podcast, but we've healed tremendously from the women we were 5 years ago just by speaking about this shit out loud. Hey, this is how I was feeling. This is what I projected on you, even though that's obviously not the case. And unfortunately, it took for us both leaving those relationships and finding solace in, both being single moms. But I think that one of the beautiful things about the podcast is that because we've healed publicly, it gives other Black women, the permission, and women period, permission to be maybe I'm being presumptuous. Maybe I'm judging. Maybe I need to take that judgment and reflect. And we really push the narrative of healing so that you can be a better mom, and then you can have friends so you're not thinking things that are completely untrue, and that's separating you from, your potential best friend.
What is the perfect baby daddy? I want you guys to build it. I want you guys to build the perfect baby daddy. Give me all the attributes and put them together that builds the perfect baby's father.
Erica. No, I'm just kidding.
The perfect child's father, baby daddy. I would say, obviously, someone supportive, someone caring, someone humble, someone, who takes initiative, who wants to help, wants to support, who cares about family, cares about loyalty, cares about, is respectful and understands his responsibility to take care of his family. I subscribe. There's certain parts of the patriarchy I subscribe to, okay? And
what parts of the patriarchy do you subscribe to?
That a man should take care of his household. And that doesn't mean that a woman shouldn't take care of her household. But I think there's a level of expectation for women, especially now with women in the workforce being able, wanting to work, taking care of home, that doesn't allow us to really step into our softness, doesn't really allow us to show up as our most beautiful, divine, nurturing self. And let me be clear, I'm an entrepreneuring ass bitch. I love to work. I love to create.
Beauty blender.
But there is a level of expectation I have for my man to do the same, to rise up to the occasion and support his family, whether that is fine. It doesn't always have to show up financially, but there is a level of support that I expect. If you're not going to show up financially, then you better be picking up these damn kids from school, making sure they're fed so that mom can make sure that everything else is going smoothly. There's a respect that has to happen privately and publicly. If we're talking about physically, over 6 feet tall.
I think the perfect baby daddy.
Tall, dark, and handsome. Black.
Perfect. I think
dreads, freckles. Sorry.
I think the perfect baby daddy doesn't subscribe to the toxic, perfect mother idea. I think the perfect baby daddy is a human who understands that I am also human, and that is fully aware that I'm going to give birth and I might nurse and I might carry, but we have equal roles. And just because I'm the mother does not mean that I somehow have more of a role than you. We are both primary parents. And I think society has kind of given men, a lot of baby daddies, permission to give a half-assed performance because they're not the moms. And so everything's like, well, you're the mom. Well, you're the mom. Well, you're supposed to sit down. I got to go out. I got to run. I got to make a run. Nigga, where are you going? You don't got no runs to make. You know what I mean? Men always want to make a run. I don't know where you're going.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I gotta pick up something.
I got to take care of something. You got to take care of this baby. And I think
But he's got to make the money. So maybe he has a run. Maybe he has to make a run to go get to go make money, right?
Well, he needs to explain.
Yeah,
say where you're going.
He doesn't always have to make money. I'm just saying, but there is a level of responsibility that I expect my partner to take on. And it is the 50-50 role. We did an episode with a fellow podcaster that was very adamant about moms are the primary parent. That is the role that you chose when you laid down and had a baby.
Are you being inconspicuous about who it is?
It was Joe Budden. And, and a lot of, obviously, our community was not fucking with that idea. But there was a lot of men that do subscribe to that idea. And that, I don't know how or why a man would be proud of that. There's no glory in that.
Because society has okayed it and supported it. And so they've run with it. And it's just whack. And it really, honestly, 51% of mothers are either depressed or suffering from anxiety. And it's because once you have a baby, a lot of that responsibility falls on you. And in fact, after my birth, my body does this crazy thing of birthing a child. I really need a minute to go figure my shit out. Take this baby. Let me go figure out who the fuck I am in this new space. I've gone through this traumatic experience. And sometimes it's extremely I always call birth a rite of passage, and it's beautiful and it's empowering, but it's a huge shift. And, we need more men to understand, our bodies go through something, our personalities, our spirits, and it takes time to kind of integrate that experience. And men don't really acknowledge the grace, give us grace and acknowledge that the transition into motherhood. And sometimes it's, we never get back on our feet from there. And we always are going, taking care of this child. And you just need a minute sometimes to be okay, let me figure out who I am as this person. So I don't just follow society standards and deep dive off the end. That's totally not me until 5 years later, I look up and I'm resenting my child, you, everyone, because I haven't really been true to myself, because I felt like I had to put on this mask and be this perfect mother.
And that's really what this book is about, because the book, I think as moms, and, Rachel, one day, if and when you choose to have a child, people will feed you tons of books, tons of apps to read about and learn about how to take care of your child. They never teach you how to take care of yourself. There's no books around how do you mother yourself after becoming a mother. And that really is what our book is about, because I read all the books and I thought I was prepared. I was overly prepared to be a mother, but I had no guidance about how to care for this new person that I was, how to remember who I was and be okay with that and not feel ashamed about the choices that I've made before childhood, and that, okay, yeah, I smoked a lot of weed before I had my daughter, and I still want to smoke some weed now, and whether, and to some people that's a bad choice, right? And that's really kind of the play on our podcast and the book is like these bad choices that, moms make. And that the book really highlights that you make the rules. You really make the rules for what motherhood looks like for you. And also encouraging women to really take time to figure out, who are you now? Do you know who you are? And the book is not just for moms too. I want to be clear. Like, this book is for women in general. Women
and men too, if you care to know our perspective.
Women who maybe are on the fence about having kids, women who maybe don't want to have kids, whatever it may be. It really is a testimony to really dissecting and diving into who you are before you make these choices that we did. It's the book I wish I had before deciding to have a child.
I love that. That's beautiful. Last thing I'll say, then I want to give you an opportunity to promote your retreat. Since you're talking about self-care and loving yourselves, you've got a retreat coming up this summer, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
can you promote that?
Yes, of course. Our retreat is called the Good Vibe Retreat. We have taken over, I think at this point, 120, 130 women out of the country. Our retreat is really, it's not just for moms, it's for women in general. We create a space for women to show up as themselves. A lot of the women come by themselves, and it's almost like a rebranding. It allows women to show up as whoever the fuck they feel like it. If they're kind of that judgmental, closed off woman at home, when you come here, you can be whoever you want. And we really take care of every detail from start to finish. Because as women, as mothers, we're always planning. We're always trying to figure things out. And so we wanted to create a space where you just show up and that's it. You don't really have to think about anything. You can do everything on the itinerary, or you can do nothing on the itinerary. And, me and Mila really pride ourselves on curating really luxury experiences because we're luxury ass bitches. And we don't want to bring anybody out of the country for no ghetto ass shit. So this retreat is actually in Mexico this year in July 5th and July 12th. And we always take over an entire property. So it's just us on property. And that really creates this kind of beautiful hub,
safe space to do whatever you want. It's like, you want to frolic, you want to be topless, you want to skinny dip, you want to howl at the moon. This is your place. It's kind of like helping women get like back to this childlike space that I think sometimes when you're caring for other people, or you're doing a job, or you're a wife, or you're a mom, you're constantly pouring out, you're giving. And it's like, it's sometimes difficult to listen to your own voice when you're caring for other people. And this is that, like, hey, maybe you want to be a different person than you were last year. Hey, come by yourself. None of these bitches know you anyway. And you can be that person. Let us nurture you. And so you don't have to think about all those things, and give yourself the opportunity to sit with yourself and think, hey, does this serve me? Is this who I want to be? Am I feeling joy? Like, have I done some shit that makes me happy lately? When's the last time I frolicked and did a cartwheel in the grass, So it's just like the little things that you think wouldn't really, matter. But, it's not just for Black women, but especially for Black women. We haven't often been giving a lot of space to explore our pleasure. And so we really pride ourselves in providing a place where women can tap into their pleasure and their needs, and they can go home refreshed and, advocating for themselves and for their peace, really.
Last question for me. Is there anything that you can't do after you've had a kid?
No.
Is there any behavior? Is there anything that you should stop doing after you've had a kid? Anything at all?
Hey, listen, I'm no one's judge, and I'm sure there's things I can say that would probably qualify as like bad things in my opinion. But like, again, that's my opinion. And I'm 400% sure that people have dissected our show and been like, there's a lot of shit you've done that you shouldn't have done, like go to Coachella and then hit the birthday party, like mushrooms, LSD. I don't know. There's things, threesomes, there's a lot of things that people would deem not motherly behavior, but who the fuck am I to tell you what you're supposed to do and what makes you happy? I think as long as you're caring for your kid and your kid is happy and taken care of, then you're doing a good job. And unfortunately, moms don't hear that enough. Like, you can live your life and still be a good mom. And, you know, there's balance to everything. And so whatever the fuck makes you happy, keep doing that. And like, this is also like, don't drop your kid off at a stranger's house for 12 days and then say, good moms, bad choices told me to do it. That's not what we're saying. You know, there are obviously responsibilities that we have as mothers, you know, and mostly we tend to be the primary caregivers. And I think the fucked up part is that, like, innately, when you give birth to something, you're not going to neglect it. You know, like, there's nothing, I could go to 400 music festivals and I'm going to remember to be like, hey, did Luna get tutoring today? Hey, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to make sure my kid's shit is locked down, because that's kind of like, that's a part of, you know, the mother experience is that we nurture. That comes innately. But, you know, do what makes you happy, girl. Do what makes you happy.
There you go. All right, you guys, Jamilah Mapp, Erica Dickerson. The book is A Good Mom's Guide to Making Bad Choices. It's got to go on the New York Times bestsellers. It's got to get there. You have to buy the book, and then you have to listen to Good Mom's Bad Choices. You have to do both of these things right now. I didn't even get a chance to fan out over Erica's dad. She doesn't like it when I do it. That's fine. Okay. I didn't get it. I left it out of the whole thing. All I'm gonna say is that nigga was a dog. I still can't believe this nigga was a dog.
What is that? The fuck? What
like
does
one
that
of
mean?
The doggest of all.
A dog in
dogs.
what way? What are we talking about, man?
That nigga was a dog. I mean, I'm talking about, like, you get that nigga that ball, boom, he gone. I used to watch him with my dad. Ooh, ah. You know what I'm saying? 2105. That's all I'm gonna say.
Wait,
all
I want to.
He freaked out on an episode because I was.
I want to say something. If you're in New York City, we're having a live show at City Winery. So make sure you come through. I don't know when this episode comes out, but it's on May 5th, which is this Friday. So if you're in the New York City area, come to our tour. It's a Confessions of a Good Mom tour. If you've been to our shows before, then you know they're the ultimate girls' night. They are a little bit naughty, a lot of it fun. And there's elements of the retreat because, you know, we can't help but just bring the good vibes. So I definitely want to encourage anyone that's in New York City to come through, come alone. If you need to find your tribe, if you're trying to find your homegirl, you'll find her here. We make sure of it. But if you want to bring your homegirl, your friend, your man, he'll have fun too. What did you want to say, my love?
All I wanted to say was, Rachel, you're the only season of The Bachelorette or Bachelor I've ever watched. And I was really excited for this because I was rooting for you, girl. I told Erica, I never watched it. I watched her season, okay?
Thank you. And I'm glad you stopped. I stopped too.
Shots. Everybody taking shots. All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining us today on Harlow.
Bye.
Wait.
Oh, she got the beauty blender out.
I pulled this out. This is what I do. Usually when I'm drunk or on something else, I do this.
Yes. Block the skin.
And then it goes, oh my God, that's a beauty blender. I said, why do you know the name of that?
Like, that's my home.
It's all about the bounce, baby. Bounce that blender, honey.
They were fantastic. I loved it. If y'all aren't on their podcast, that interview alone should want to make you pick up the book and listen to their podcast. I love the answer they had about just Black women needing to support Black women and how historically we haven't really done that.
You know what I should have asked
publicly?
You know what I should have asked them when they were talking about the patriarchy and men having to make money? I want to ask you this question. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I keep moving the computer.
I was going to ask them this question. I know what you're going to ask me, and I was going to ask them this question.
What? What's the question? Huh?
You asked me about Iyanla?
No.
Oh.
We'll talk about Iyanla. As a matter of fact, let's talk about that now.
Because I was going to ask them this question.
Let's talk about that now. Okay. Rachel, that's perfect. Give it to us. Tell us what's going on.
Okay. So this clip has gone viral. Ebony K. Williams, friend of the podcast, was interviewing Iyanla Vanzant. And she was just talking to her about, I didn't see the full interview. I just saw some of the clip. And she was talking to her about Black women and I think just like our femininity and not settling for certain things and standing in our power. And I'm paraphrasing here. So she's phrasing all this and she lays it out beautifully. Ebony does as she's proposing this question to Iyanla, and she cuts her off kind of and says, "Ebony, would you marry or date?"
Let's go to the audio.
Let's go to the audio. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Know that you've said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man. So I will not ask you to indict men in this question. But I do want you to speak, Iyanla, to how women need to, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date a bus driver?
If he owns the bus. If he owns it. If he owns the bus.
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well.
Rachel?
I agree with Iyanla.
You agree with Iyanla?
I have said this before. I in all my relationships, I've been the breadwinner in all my past relationships. So for me, I've never gone into it. Would it be nice? Van, what?
Yeah.
What? Would it be nice?
Kick this nigga's back in.
No, I don't think that's.
Go ahead.
So you think I'm kicking Brian's back in by saying that? I don't think that's that big of a secret. When Brian moved here, he's starting his business and I'm not saying that he's doing bad. I'm just saying that in the position that we're in right now, right, I'm the one making more money.
Okay.
I don't think that's that big of a secret. Anyways, I'm open. Whatever. Talk about me if you want. Guess there'll be a new Reddit post. Rachel continuing to emasculate Brian. It's what I do best, apparently. Anyways, my point being is the way that I've dated or the people that I've dated, that has never been a deal breaker for me. I'm with Iyanla in the sense that I'm looking past just that. Now, I want you to work, but I also want you to love what you do. So if this bus driver has always wanted to be a bus driver, or even if he's just very happy in the space that he's in, and maybe he's saving money to do something else, or maybe this is all he wants to do. Maybe he's saving up to buy the bus. I don't know. I'm okay with that if you're doing what you love, if it's coupled with so many other things that I look for in a significant other. So I would, but I'd have follow-up questions. If I'm like, oh, what do you do? I drive a bus. Okay, well, I got more questions after that. I'm not saying I'm like clicking my heels and jumping for joy just at that, but I got more questions. I wouldn't totally cross somebody off the list just because of the job that they did. I have follow-up. And I actually think that that's really wrong for people to do.
You think that it's really wrong for people to do?
I think, listen, everybody has their preferences, but I think that you might be cutting yourself off to somebody who's great because you have a number in your head that somebody needs to be making so you can be financially taken care of.
So why do you think that women feel this way?
Well, I think it is within women, and I would say this about myself. There's a desire to want to be taken care of. I want to be taken care of, and sometimes that means financially. Sometimes that means in an intimate way. It can be various things. So I think I can understand how, and also just like the gender roles that are in society, whether you can be a feminist, you could be the most liberal person, but there's certain, stigmas that are placed on us in society, or certain stereotypes that are assigned to each gender that are still ingrained within you. So I think that I'd be lying if there aren't certain, you're like, oh, well, a man is supposed to do this. I think sometimes we think that, or a woman is supposed to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you should stay married to that idea, but I think that that is in us at times. And so I think that society has told us that as women, we are supposed to be taken care of by our men, and our men are supposed to provide for us and to make more for us. Mm. And I think that that's still in some women.
So what I would ask those women, because, we had Erica and Mila on, they talked about the patriarchy, and sometimes women want the part of the patriarchy. And to be honest with you, it's not sometimes. The majority of the women that I know are not going to date any man that is not financially secure. And when I say not financially secure...
Yeah, explain that.
Most women don't want a man that's financially secure. The women that I know, I'm not going to say most women, I'm not going to generalize that degree, but the women that I know and have known, they don't necessarily want a man that's financially secure. They want a man that's doing better than they are.
Yeah.
So they don't want to date a man that is not doing as well as they are doing.
Yeah.
It makes that guy weak, impotent to them. It's always an issue.
Women.
Okay? A lot of times. My question is this, and I've asked this question before, and it's a simple question. Everybody's entitled to date whomever they want for whatever reason. Ebony doesn't want to date a bus driver. I'm sure people are upset about it. I'm sure people are mad about it. That's on her.
That's her preference.
To me, the way I look at it is, hey, whatever you want, I hope it comes to you. But I'm letting you know, the smaller the needle has to go through, okay? The smaller the hole that the needle goes through, the less needles that are out there. All right? So you're trying to thread something through the hole of the needle. The smaller it is, the less things can go in there.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of ladies that are here talking about, how much love they want and how much companionship that they want. I sometimes wonder how much they really want it, because it seems like you only want it from Odell Beckham Jr. and Damson Idris and like three or four other guys. But this is what I'll say. This is my question to people. What do women have to do? For the women that look at the patriarchy or the traditional gender roles, and this is a disgustingly heteronormative conversation that we're having, but we're having it because it's a topic that we're talking about. If men have to provide at this level, and I can provide just fine, I'm doing great, I don't have any complaints, it's all fine. Well, then what do women have to do?
I think those women who expect that to provide at that level would also accept the gender role that's placed on them.
I don't think that anybody is going to tell Ebony K. Williams to come home and make their food. I just don't think.
I think you'd be shocked at how secretly submissive. I actually.
This is the problem. I think that this stuff is easy if everybody adheres to the predetermined role that our parents have. So if a lot of people would be like, you know what? That's cool. I got to be rich to fuck with you. I got to be rich. I got to have all this money. I have to be able to do this so you can live a soft life. Do you know what the other side of that used to be? You know what you have to do?
Yeah.
Whatever I say.
Yeah.
Like you have to do what I say.
And I actually know people in those relationships
And so
too.
what I'm saying is like, there can't be a situation to where this dynamic has changed for men and then it hasn't changed for women, has changed for women and hasn't changed for men, because then you're going to have people talking past each other.
Well, let me ask you this. We'll use Ebony because that's the topic of conversation. If Ebony wants a man to have, to provide in a certain way, let's say make more money than her, right? She wants the owner, right? She doesn't want the player. She wants the person who owns the team. Is it fair to expect her? I think what she would say, because you said she wouldn't accept being told what to do, is that, but I'm providing as well.
Okay.
So I'm bringing stuff to the table because I have my own and I'm doing this.
If you have your own, then I would ask, if you have your own and you're providing as well, then to me, that should be liberating, that you should be able to get any man that you want. You should be able to go
Well,
into...
you can, but what type?
Well, I'm saying get any man what you want. I mean, like, you should be able to go to McDonald's, think that the dude behind the thing is fucking good looking, and then make him. Because nobody can... I'm serious. Because listen, there are huge Hollywood stars, gigantic, really super successful men, that when they meet women, these women aren't of any of what people would call account. I'm sure they're great people, but hey, I met a waitress at this particular club. I met a barista here. I met this person here. And because of what's expected, a lot of times these people make completely like fine mates for those people.
Yeah.
And women, I understand, can't do that. Like there's a wealth gap to where they feel like they need security.
Sure.
And what people really don't want to talk about is some of this stuff are just pro-evolutionary traits that have been reinforced over years and years and years of socialization, right? It's fine for me either way. I can't tell nobody to cook. I can't tell nobody to clean. I don't even want that. Like that's not a thing for me. That's it. I kind of saw how that burned my mom out, and that's not a thing for me. I'm gonna look at my shit and go, hey, these are dirty. I'm gonna clean them. I'm gonna look at my. I'm gonna cook my food. It's fine.
Yeah.
Hey, it's gravy. But I do wonder sometimes, if we're talking about patriarchy and destroying it, it seems like sometimes we're picking and choosing.
Well, we are.
Which types of patriarchy works for women and which parts they don't like.
Well, we are. And it's something that, I can't remember if it was Erica or Jamilah that said this, but Jamilah or Erica said this about women tapping into their, like, being soft.
The soft life. Women want the soft life.
And sometimes when the quote unquote gender roles are switched, or, you know, like there's I'll just say it that way. When they're switched, these stereotypical roles, a lot of times women don't feel like they can tap into their femininity because they're having to be something else. And so I do think that it is innately within women that they do want to be able to tap into that. And so that means that they need, you know, a weight off their shoulders, or they need help in some areas. But I don't think that always means in a financial way. And Jamilah or Erica said this when they were like, you got to pick up the kids from the school. You got to do something else around the house. There are other ways that you can help out that just don't have to be financial, which is why I have an issue with Ebony's point of view and not Iyanla's, because I think that men can step up in other ways and it doesn't just have to be financial. And I think, and I haven't always had this point of view. It took time for even me to get there. Even when I was dating someone before that didn't make as much money than me.
Last thing I'll say. Love Mila, love Erica, love you, love all of my unbelievably talented, independent, self-sufficient women. I have to be honest about something. When women say that a man doesn't have to make a certain amount of money, he can sort of step up in other ways, I don't believe you.
I mean, I need you to work.
I'm just going to be honest with you. In my experience, and when I say my experience, I don't mean necessarily with me. I'm talking about in life. If your woman is making more money than you, she's going to let you know at some point. Like if your woman is making more money than you, I'm sorry. And there might be other situations out there where this is completely a different thing. Man, I saw something on TV where this lady was a doctor and it was about like women that are primary breadwinners. When this lady was a doctor and she was discussing how difficult it is she was a doctor, her husband is a nurse. She makes more money than him. Mm-hmm. And she was talking about like how much of her life she feels like she doesn't get to live because she feels the burden of providing for her family. And there was a whole thing. Look, if you're a man, you don't get to complain about that.
Yeah.
You don't get to say that like my father worked his motherfucking ass off, right? Worked his ass off. And he just wasn't able to come in. Now, he was able to do a bunch of other shit, but he wasn't able to complain about having to take care of his family because there's an understanding, even if we don't want to confront it, that should be the other way around. And there's a bunch of dudes sitting down with their wives or girlfriends right now, and they're talking to them and they're saying, hey, look, don't worry about it. Just make sure that you pick up the kids and make sure you do all of this. I can make the money and it's cool. I'm telling them right now, my nigga, be careful.
No, listen.
Because when Mad Day comes,
you gotta work. You gotta make money.
No,
you
even
gotta
if you
work.
make money. If
you gotta work. You gotta be able to cover some bills. You gotta do something.
Even if you make, but hold on. But in a situation, in that situation, why would a man have to be able to cover bills?
You got to be able to contribute financially, but I'm not saying you have to make more than me.
But why would a man have to contribute financially? Why couldn't he just contribute to the family? Like,
I don't want a house husband. Sorry, I don't.
Right. Would you? Okay.
That's why I said I don't have a problem with a bus driver.
Right. But do you think that men feel the same way in terms of housewives? Like, is there...
No.
A lot of times, so why is it wrong to be a house husband?
It's not wrong, but this is what I mean about you can be women this, let's, take down the patriarchy, all that. There is something within women that they still want to be taken care of. And it is not attractive to me if you're not working at all.
But
and I come home.
But what if you?
You are not working.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
But what if the guy is taking care of the house? He's cleaning up the house. He's paying all the bills.
There's something within us that still wants you to be able to do something for us. Like if you're not working,
that's not doing.
Well, no, because if you're not working at all financially, if you're not working at all, that means I'm giving you an allowance. I'm a mother now. I'm mothering you.
Wait a second though. Why doesn't that same dynamic work on the other side?
This is what I mean. How it doesn't matter how you try to slice it. These gender roles are still there. They're present. It's so ingrained in us. I will always want to be taken care of to some level. I'm not saying you got to make more than me, but if you can't afford to take me on a date, I got to give you a monthly allowance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not okay with that.
Right. Okay.
That's where I'll draw the line.
Well, I get it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying it's always an interesting conversation talking about what people have to do.
Because people need to admit that there are roles that they still adhere to in this society. People need to admit that. If
I jumped on this podcast right now and was like, look, when I come home, I expect, and these things aren't even a big deal to me. Like, I really don't care.
Yeah.
But if I was like, I expect this to be done, I expect that to be done, I expect this to be done, I expect that to be done. People will look at me in a certain way. Acceptable double standard. Double standard, but acceptable double standard. Donnie, can I have some sound?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. We're back. We're back. It's spring, which means the cougars are on the prowl again. A 70-year-old man survived a cougar attack in Utah without serious injuries. He suffered only lacerations to his head and arms when he was confronted by the animal at Spanish Fork Canyon around 1 p.m.
In the day?
Oof. In the day. Authorities said officials with the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources will search for the cougar on Friday. Be careful. These cougars on the loose. Okay? These cougars are out here. You guys think that we forgot about them, but we did. Mountain lion is out here on the prowl. And this is the thing. That's Mountain Lion's neighborhood. You don't need to, if you come into my house, of course you need to be cautious because it's my house. And so if I walk in my kitchen and I turn around and I see somebody in my kitchen, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to lacerate their head. You're in Mountain Lion's turf. That's Mountain Lion's.
The whole outside is Mountain Lion's turf?
Stone Fork Canyon, Mountain Lion's turf. So if you go up there, you catch Mountain Lion off guard, you're going to get some lacerations. Okay? So you guys.
Thank goodness the man's okay.
I'm just saying. he's okay, and that's great. My question is, how's Mom Lion?
I'm sure he's fine.
Is there emotional damage?
I'm sure he's fine.
Because Mom Lion was probably scared. You know, y'all thought that after P22 went to the upper room and transitioned to be one of the ancestors, that we would stop talking about Mount Lion on this podcast. Nah, we gave it a little rest because P22 was tough. My Twitter avatar is still P22. Rest in peace to my guy.
Did you find this story or did somebody send it to you?
What you think?
You know, y'all need to stop.
Guys, keep coming with the Mount Lion content.
Y'all need to stop. Y'all need to stop.
Donnie, before we go, I want to get Donnie's take on the whole disgustingly heteronormative conversation about who makes the money and stuff. What's your thoughts?
Sorry, guys. We keep saying gender roles and all that.
No, actually, my wife just got a new job, and we are currently in this situation where she makes more than I do. And
you okay, Donnie?
I am. Like, I am super comfortable in our roles. I've made the most in the entire span of our relationship. And her getting this new job came at like the perfect time. And us making this extra money is like exactly what we needed. So I mean, it like came at the perfect time. And we're comfortable about that. I'm comfortable about it.
And that's the way to look at it, as a blessing. Donnie, give me the sound from Waiting to Exhale.
He's a good man, Savannah.
That's a good man, Savannah.
That's
a good man.
Look, y'all, I am happy for Donnie and his family. And it's good.
He looked at it as a blessing.
He looked at it as a blessing.
Because it's about a family unit.
It's about a unit.
It's about you guys together.
It's about
and
a
what
unit.
You bring to the table.
It's about a unit as long
as she doesn't throw it in his face, which she's not.
Okay. Donnie, I don't think she will. She
is actually like spoiling me in a way that like that it kind of makes me uncomfortable.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like she's planning on taking me out on Wednesday, and she like literally just bought me the new Star Wars game as we're recording. Like I'm like, she needs to not.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you what's going to happen to you, Donnie. Donnie, let me tell you what's going to happen. It's going good right now, but it's going to change, bro. And let me tell you what's going to happen. It's going to change in a couple ways. One day, you're going to be up late on the edit, right? You're going to be in there up late, and you know she's going to come in there, and you're going to be going to sleep, and she's going to be like, ain't no time to sleep. And you're going to be like, what?
You see how Van thinks
you're going to be like, what? No, mama got needs. Ain't no time to sleep.
Hey, and
what you think you about to go to sleep?
I have a job
like,
to do.
Look, I stopped by she's going to be like, I stopped by the gas station, and I got these for you. Donnie gonna be calling me like, hey, Van, hit me right now. Call me and say we gotta go do a record. Like, come back here and go to sleep, Donnie. Donnie, I'm telling you, it's gonna happen, bro. Hey, Donnie don't know.
Van,
she bought you the new Star Wars game. That's how you know. She just buttering you up.
Can you not handle your woman making more than you?
Of course.
Can you?
Yeah, it's happened.
Can you?
It happened before. And guess what?
It happened before.
The shit was brought up straight like that. I'm just being for real. It happened before. And guess what? The shit was brought up. Could I handle it? Cool. I was playing basketball. But it happened. What?
So we just got some really good news.
What happened?
I just got a DM from Wingstop.
Oh, what happened?
We'd love to send you something.
Oh,
do you understand my love for Wingstop?
What are they going to send you?
Well, I only do one thing.
What? The wings?
Lemon pepper.
So wait, they just going to send you wings for free?
Yeah. Very similar to the triple treat box.
Triple treat box.
Remember that? That's a throwback for all you old school thought warriors.
Pizza Hut, come through with the triple treat. Well, no, never mind. I can't focus on triple treat.
Donnie, I loved your input.
Donnie's great. I knew that Donnie would have the right input. But yeah,
the voice of reason.
I've been in both situations. And
do you throw it? You do.
Wait.
You throw it in her face.
Wait. No. Okay, so no, but not in a real way. But let me tell you really. Seriously, this is a real thing. So when it was thrown, not thrown in my face, when it was brought up, the money that I didn't make, or like how like what I wasn't doing or whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. And so there was a time, let me break it down to you. So what happened was, I'm not the easiest person to live with. Like I had to learn how to clean up and to do all of that kind of stuff. And like, it's like my man. So my filth is the filthiest of
two
filth.
people coming together. It's different.
Right.
It's a struggle.
So, it's frustrating. You have to learn how to do stuff like that or whatever. And it was a situation to where like, if it was basically like, if you're not going to be cleaning up, or if you're not going to be making any money around here,
you need to step up in other ways.
You need to step up in other ways.
That's
like,
the fair thing to say.
You need to do this. So I took that to heart, and it started to be a situation to where the house was spotless. I was cleaning up all the time.
That's amazing.
Okay, right. So after this, what ends up happening is it changes to a large degree. It changes to like, it flips totally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after it flips totally, it's not like I was like, you have to do this, because I've never done that before.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a situation to where when I was asked to do something, I would go, well, shouldn't that be something that you do now that things are the other way? And you know what I was told? Nigga, get the fuck up and go and do the fucking shit. And don't you ever try to hold shit over my head like that. You fucking crazy? No, it just didn't work. And I thought that my expectation would be that it would be the same way, but it wasn't. And it won't be. And it's not going to happen. I'm not, that's just not going to happen. There's a lot of other things, and it's a completely collaborative relationship. It really is a completely collaborative relationship. I don't know so much stuff about like what goes on. I just don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. It's like, she's taking care of it, right? Mm-hmm. But there was a point to where I thought, okay, I'm taking care of everything. Mm-hmm. So I expected there to be some type of
for there to be step up.
No,
in other ways.
I expected there to be some sort of
thank you.
Not if not a thank you, an understanding of kind of the dynamic of that, and it just wasn't. And even when I intimated that should be a thing, I got the boot in my face so hard. I'm like, nah, fuck it. And so for real, there was a toxic point to where I was kind of like, I remember how things were, and before when it was me, and now I'm wondering like how things are supposed to be now that I am like really taking care of things like in a real serious, like total way. And I had to learn that, people are different, and one person rules the fucking house. That's the way that it goes. And that's the way that it should go, right?
Do you have a preference of which way you'd rather it be?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Just because me, now what I will tell you is, like during that time, the company I was working with had folded, and I was on unemployment, and I was just like playing basketball all the time and all of that stuff. And so there was a boyishness about me still, mm-hmm. And that's a reality. There's nothing, like, I don't lord over people. And that's kind of that's my response to my father. Mm-hmm. Like my dad would come home and he would, and if the house wasn't set to the right temperature, he's a great guy, but he wanted things to be a certain way. And he worked, his job was hard, out there on the job site, running the job site, and it's hot. And he'd come home and he'd be glistening and sweaty. He was the boss, so he didn't really have to grab a trowel or a trowel machine and do all of that stuff. But he just was out. It was very stressful. So when he came home, shit had to be correct. It had to be right. You know what I mean? So if it wasn't, he was on your ass. And I just never want to lord over anyone like that. I never want to be the reason why somebody's evening is all fucked up because they have to make me happy. It's kind of my reaction to that. But having said that, I think the feelings that I had from earlier on, there was a point to where I was like, well, I'm the man now.
I mean.
And that shit got
it's honest.
86th.
It's honest.
Quick, nigga.
It's honest.
All right. And to be honest with you, I can't talk about this and not be completely transparent. There was all other kinds of shit that I was doing too.
Sure.
And so because of that, there was pain on it.
So it's not as black and white.
It's
is
definitely
what you're
not
saying.
As black and white. Like there was probably entitlements that I felt and things that I did as a result of those entitlements that didn't have anything to do with what was going on inside the house. There were things that were outside of the house. And that type of pain and punishment that you can put to somebody through is much worse than anything that you can ask them to do inside of your house. So like, lucky that there's even a relationship to discuss. All right. Donnie? I got some hymns that I'm going to send to you in the mail. You got to be on your job.
I appreciate that. For real.
You know, Magic Mike Volume 2. I'm going to give you some of the moves. It's great. It's fantastic. Take think caps off, but do not stop learning. I am Van Lathan Jr. That is Donnie Long Schlong Beacham.
I'm Rachel Lindsay.